What's up everybody, and welcome to another video here on Alvaro's Outdoor Adventures. On this video I'm going to show you how to use these types of reel. I'm going to be as detailed as I can on showing you the mechanics of this reel, how each single component works, and how you could have more fun trying to use these and fishing instead of trying to fix a bird's nest all day long. So hopefully you find this video useful, and let me know in the comments what you think about the video. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so you can get notifications anytime I upload a video, and stick around for the video, and hopefully you could learn how to use these types of baitcasters. So the basics of the baitcaster includes the brake, of course your reel, the release button, this releases your line, your tension knob, your drag star. So let's start with the brakes. The brakes is the same as a car. As soon as they're applied, the car stops moving, starts going slower. The same here. If I go put the brakes or set the brakes to the maximum, this means this mechanism, the brakes, is going to be applied to your reel. Okay. The more brakes you have, the less the reel is going to spin. Again, if you have no brakes whatsoever, it means that the reel is just going to spin freely. The less brakes you have applied, or the less brakes you have set, determines the speed of the reel when your line is going out. The tension knob. This is very, very important. Can't stress how important this tension knob is, or this tension adjuster. This is what's going to determine, for the most part, backlashes, bird's nest, and you having to use your thumb when you're casting these types of baitcasters. The tension knob, or the adjuster, the tension adjuster, is going to compensate for the weight of the lure you're using. If it's either a jig, if it's a crankbait, if it's a worm, you're going to be setting your adjuster according to the weight of your lure. Now you don't have to go in and find how much your lure weighs, and if I'm going to change to another lure I have to see how much that weighs. None of that takes place. Brakes, tension knob. These are your two most important factors on a baitcaster. Okay. If you don't fine-tune these, that's when you're going to start getting bird's nests. That's where you're going to be spending more time fixing your bird's nest and actually having fun fishing. So the brakes also cause backlashes, because if it's spinning too fast, if the reel's spinning too fast but your tension is not set up to accommodate for the type of brake, your brakes is going to start giving up. Okay, the reel is going to start trying to go faster to catch up to the lure, but the weight of the lure is not set up correctly on the tension knob. That's where you're going to start getting a lot of bird's nests as well. My method of preventing all of this, it's anytime you change your lure, either it's a jig, either it's a crankbait, either it's a plastic or live bait, every time you're gonna have to adjust your tension knob to accommodate for that weight. I don't change the brake settings anytime I change the lure I'm using. All I focus is my tension knob. Now, adjusting your weight according to the lure. When I say adjusting my tension knob, it means I'm going to adjust the tension by rotating this way as soon as my bait starts to drop. And I'll show you here as I'm releasing the tension. As soon as my bait starts to drop, that's how I'm going to leave it. Okay, and you can see also, as soon as that lure hits the ground, my reel stops moving. Okay, anytime it goes farther, it's going to keep on trying to go down. but it'll stop as soon as it hits the ground. The same thing is going to happen when it hits the water. If I apply maximum brake and let it go, it's still going to go down. It's going to go down slower, and as you can see, it just stopped right there because the brakes on the reel, it's too much for the type of lure I have. If I had a bigger lure or live bait, then it will go all the way down. Now the only problem with having brakes to the max, and it's really not a big problem, and I recommend everybody who's new to using these Baitcasters or is having too many bird's nests, too many backlashes, to go back and set your brake to the maximum and gradually work your way up to where you feel more comfortable. Okay, as you're gonna see on this cast, brakes are applied to the maximum. As soon as I let it go, it doesn't travel that far. Show you one more time. As hard as I'm throwing it, that lure is not going too far because of the brakes. Yes, I'm giving it force to get it out there, but the brake set at maximum is not allowing the reel to spin as fast for the lure can go out. This is a setting I like to keep it at. Like I said, brakes do cause backlashes, and it's just because the reel is trying to catch up with the lure. But once you start getting more comfortable with this, the more you have to use less brakes, the more farther out you're going to be able to cast your lures every time. So I'm not changing the tension knob anymore with this lure. I just changed the brakes, and applying the same amount of pressure, you're going to see that my lure is going to go farther. Let me show you one more time. I'm going to put a little bit more force to it. So there, as you can see, as soon as that lure hit the water, my reel stopped spinning. Okay, and that's due to the tension I have on it, which allows the reel to stop turning as soon as it hits the water. Okay, you can check it always on the ground, you can check it in the water. I recommend checking it on the ground before you cast it if you're new. But if you can see, I got my lure farther. Yeah, put a little more force into it. I have the brake set to where it's not all the way loose, but it's not too tight. But if you can see, I did not use my thumb to stop the reel for spinning, and I didn't get any bird's nest. So that's the whole purpose of the video, how to cast or how to tune your Baitcaster in a way where you won't have to worry about bird's nest. Yes, if we start loosening up this tension a bit more, there's more probability that we could send our lure farther and faster. But again, that's where we're going to start dealing with bird's nest. Okay, and this is what I mean. So I already loosened up my tension, and you're going to see that as soon as that lure hits the ground, my reel is going to start backlashing, and I'm going to get a bird's nest. You see how the lure hit the ground and the reel did not stop? That happens when the tension is set up too loose. Now yes, granted, you could cast farther or faster, but again, here you're going to need to start using your thumb to stop the line as soon as it hits the water. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to prevent all the bird's nests and how to use these bait casters with preventing bird's nest and without using the thumb. Now, since I just changed the tension, I'm gonna have to do it again so it could be fine-tuned of how I like it. As soon as that bait starts dropping, or that lure starts dropping, that's as far back as I'm gonna go on that tension knob. And again, I could cast all day long, pretty far. Again, no bird's nest without using my thumb. Now, every time you're gonna change your lure, say you already did a couple of throws with your jig and you're not getting any results, I already have my setups. Now you want to fish a wacky worm. It's the same thing. You're gonna have to adjust the tension to where as soon as it starts dropping, that's as far out or as far back that you want it. And again, you can toss them, throw it. As soon as that bait hit the water, my reel stopped spinning, which again did not cause any backlash, and I didn't have to use my thumb to stop the line. Sorry guys, I interrupt this tutorial. I'm gonna do a magic trick, my first magic trick on this channel. And for this magic trick, my son is gonna help me out to pick a card. So here we go. It's a deck of cards, no order whatsoever, all random. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle them. Oliver, come on and pick a card, any card. Then once you show it, don't let me see it, show it to the camera. You got it? Alright. Then I'll get the card and stick it in the pack. As you can see, that's his card sticking out. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide it throughout the deck, so I'm going to do a couple of cuts. I'm going to shuffle the cards or mix them up pretty good. Then I'm going to do a unique shuffle where I'm going to mix them facing up and facing down, some of them up, some of them down. I'm going to keep on going that way until I get most of them done. And as you can see with this shuffle, you have some of them facing face to back, you have other parts facing back to face, and then you have other parts facing back to back. Okay. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to just snap my finger, and you'll see that every single one of the cards. Can you pick up the camera and bring it this way so they can see it? All the cards are now facing the same way except one. This is your card?
Yeah.
There we go. Here's another cast, throwing it farther, harder. Again, no backlash, no bird's nest, no thumb. So after using this worm for some time and now you want to change the type of lure you're going to use, again, you're going to adjust your tension to when as soon as that bait starts dropping, that's as far back you want to have it. That's the loosest you want to have it. And again, you're going to cast out like normal with the same results. It doesn't matter what type of bait you're going to use, as long as you're adjusting your tension every time you're changing your lure, you'll be fine. And it's the same method with all of the reels, all of the bait casting reels. The same method is used with all the bait casting reels. All you have is different type of brand. Maybe some are smoother, maybe some are more lighter, some are heavier. I like these Abu Garcia Black Max. I like the combo. I had the tip broken off of one while transporting them on a camping trip, and I ended up getting this ugly stick, which feels more sturdier than this one. And they're both 6 feet 6 inches medium, but this one feels more sturdier than this one. But it doesn't matter what type of bait casting reel you have, what brand it is, the same mechanism applies to all of it. I want to say the only difference would be the brake. There are some brakes that you don't have the option to adjust them through here. You're gonna have to open them and adjust it through there. The only difference I see is the brand. But again, once you have your brakes set to your likings on how fast or how comfortable you feel with your reel spinning out with the type of lure that you're using, I say stick with that. There are some times that you're gonna have to tighten it up a little bit if you have a heavier lure, like say you're using a big chunk of shad for catfish. Then yes, you would apply more brakes to it because that's gonna differentiate how fast your reel is gonna be spinning. You want to put more brakes on that because of the weight of your bait. But when it comes to these type of lures, like plastic, crankbaits, jigs, you name them, once you find that finesse setting, that's all you need to adjust your brakes. I could cast all day long with this setting and I'll have to worry about that. And even here, when I already tossed a lot with these, but I want to go back to the jig. I don't have to readjust the tension because I already left it there for that jig, and the same, I don't have to do anything else after that. The only problem comes when you start changing the jigs from one to the other on a different rod. Then yes, you're gonna have to start changing the adjusting the tension to accommodate for the weight of the lure you're using. You can cast it anywhere you want, however you want. You're never gonna get a backlash. You have to use your thumb. And this is the best way to start off as a beginner to a bait casting reel. Because you'll find yourself fishing more time than playing or messing around with the bird's nest you got. Okay. One thing I do recommend, let's say you've been using your worm for quite some while and you've been catching bass. Bass are starting eating up the plastic you're using. Once you're gonna change that specific worm, even if it's the same one, if you're gonna change it to the same one, I would still recommend you changing or adjusting the tension on the knob. The reason why, it's because small weight difference can mean a lot. Okay, and plus you want to get into a habit where you're changing your tension every time you're changing your lure. Okay, sometimes the bite is hot and you want to throw your your bait out as soon as you retrieved it. But trust me, that little the little setting or adjustment that you do, that's going to mean a lot to when you're fishing. There could be that slight chance that you're going to get a bird's nest. There could be that slight chance that you are going to have backlashes. And the only way to prevent that, and that way you could also start putting into your mind that you have to be conscious about the tension knob. Okay, the more you start changing your tension with every lure that you change, the less you have to worry about bird's nest. Like I said, even though if it's the same type of worm, the same color, the same weight, go ahead and adjust your tension knob according to it. Okay, also when you're using this kind of baitcaster, don't reel as fast as I'm doing it. This is just for the purpose of the video. Well, there you have it, people. Hopefully you learned a lot from this video, from this tutorial I made. Hopefully you are more interested in using these types of reels. If I did help you in some kind, way or matter, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what type of baitcasting reel do you use when fishing. How do you set them up? How do you use them? What types of lures and jigs do you use when using the baitcasters? Also, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you're new here and you like my contents, please hit the subscribe button. Also hit the bell button so you can get notifications anytime I upload a video. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and as always, I'll see you at the outdoors.